And we are live. Simple as that. Hi, everyone. We are joined today in the unusual date and time. Time is more usual than date, but we are here on Monday. It's not coincidence that we are here. And we are joined by an amazing Umbraco HQ team. Hi, guys. How are you? Can you hear us, see us?
Yes. Wonderful to see you.
How's your day? How's your start of the week? Good?
Yeah, pretty calm.
Yes.
Business as usual.
Yeah. It's an amazing day. We're together with you. Because all days could be umbraCoffee days. You can just watch some of the old episodes.
That's the beauty of YouTube, yeah. But obviously nothing special is happening today, right? It's Monday as usual, right?
And then again, today we're celebrating an amazing release and some amazing work, especially by these two beautiful people next to me.
Yeah, we can tell more about it, and obviously the title showed it all, because we are here to discuss Umbraco Heartcore, and we've been teased a little, not a little, because it was a great article which was released as a first of the series for 24 days in Umbraco CMS this year, and it covered a lot about the whole product idea, how to use it, with some examples and great insights how it works and what's next, basically, with the link to the roadmap and everything else. But if we have you here today, can you tell us more about the product which you've been working on recently? Tell us more, Morten.
You put me on the spot. Yes, well, I guess I said most of it in the blog post, but so we've been working on this for a long time now. If we look all the way back, we started with a beta which was based on version 7, which ran for a long time, and we got a lot of input from that. And then we kind of rebooted that project around Code Garden this year, and then focused all our efforts on version 8, so we can have all of the multilingual features. And then kind of took all of the learnings and kind of started from scratch, or I wouldn't say completely from scratch, because we have a lot of the same foundations at least. And then we started building that, working on that, focusing on the Umbraco parts, the API especially, and then kind of working outwards from there, the APIs, and then the usability of the APIs, and then the client libraries, a lot of documentation. And I guess that's mostly it up until now, at least.
So compared to the V7 beta that was around for about 2 years, wasn't it? People were building some quite cool stuff on that, but effectively what we're going to be seeing today in Heartcore is a completely different product. So the APIs are different, back office is different. You've started again, basically.
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, because the original thing started out as just being an API as a kind of a plugin, and then it turned more into how can we do a headless CMS, and then people started using that, and we got a lot of input. We talked with different partners who were using it and who wanted to use a headless CMS, and got a lot of input from them. And that's around the time of Code Garden, where we kind of rebooted it and focused on how can we improve it, how can we make a super nice headless CMS service on Umbraco Cloud, which has all of these great features. It's focused, of course, on the Umbraco back office. Is still like the centerpiece of everything. But then how can we get APIs so that it's easy to use for everyone, not just for people who are used to Umbraco, but people who maybe only work in the front end part of the spectrum, or maybe who uses other programming languages than just C#. So how we can get it out broader, and how we can build a more full managed service around it. Because it's not only the CMS and the APIs, there's also a lot in front in terms of CDN and all the stuff that we can do around media.
So it's at its heart, it is just an API that it's exposing, but you've got all of these SDKs that can sit alongside it to make it super friendly for someone that's maybe a JavaScript developer to consume and work with that API. Is that right? So you don't need any Umbraco experience, or you don't need to know the existing Umbraco APIs just to work with Heartcore.
Yeah.
Yeah, and of course, in the center is Umbraco, as you know it, and then you have the APIs, and then there's the whole content delivery network to make sure that the queries are cached and the content are delivered super fast. And this is where it's really different, the stuff you've been working on, than the original idea of Umbraco headless, which was basically just more or less, an API, REST API on top of Umbraco as you know it. Then this is really the key here, is that it's been thought about as a service from day one of the Heartcore project.
I had the pleasure to run workshops on the early beta of Umbraco Heartcore, which wasn't named Heartcore yet there, but we were all surprised, all the people who were attending the workshops, that it just worked, and they didn't have any experience with the product. They installed the client library, and just consumed the content which was exposed correctly using the URLs and authentications methods there. And obviously the editor's experience was known because people were using Umbraco previously. But for someone who is just joining the whole train, I think it's a really great product and great service, which is fitting to a lot of solutions and use cases where exactly this approach is needed. Yeah, Morten, I know you had some demos and things to share or show, because we are talking about the product, but maybe someone didn't see what it is and how it works. If you can show us more, because I've been doing demos with Xamarin applications. We've been building the clients for .NET Core applications. People were doing the JavaScript clients, and it's all right now more possible and easier if you have client libraries. But yeah, can we see it? I will add your screen to the stream, and we can all see it. Yeah.
Let's see if I can find it here. There you go. Okay, so this one is just, first off, we have this Umbraco Heartcore project on Umbraco Cloud, which is currently pretty simple, because it's supposed to be used for these sample libraries that we have. So just some different content that we can show, and some media. So right now there's only 2 pages, and that's because me and Rasmus was tasked with creating content in the beginning, but we're getting help from our communications department here at HQ to get more than 2 content items. But so yeah, this is the back office of Umbraco Heartcore project. As you can see, it's very much as you know it. But then we have the demo I used for the article on 24 days was a console sample, which I have here. So this is using .NET Core. I think it's version 2.2. So if you start that up, then of course we're greeted with some amazing ASCII art.
How long did that take?
That was why it was delayed.
Yeah.
Majority of the project.
The last 2 months of development, just getting every single piece correct. No, but then so we start out with this, and then we can just type the alias of our project, which for this is demo headless, and then we have some different options here for showing stuff from the back office. So we can see we can easily retrieve the content. Of course, there's not a lot, so it's just home and the child node. Then we can show the media, where there's a bit more, showing all of the items in the media section. And then we can also try, so if we open up this one again and go to media, just to see that I'm not cheating. And yeah, so if we do, let's say this one, try and upload a media item to the back office. But of course I can't. Question if I can remember my password. Yeah.
But while you find out, what's really cool is actually all the things you didn't have to do, right? You went in, you took a trial of Heartcore, and as the content was added, and as you started queuing the content, it was distributed on Cloudflare's content network, and you just get that content extremely fast, and you haven't spent any time setting anything up.
I was going to say, there's not a huge amount of content or media, but it's almost instantaneous when you said, get me the media or get me the content. And it came back with a response within like milliseconds rather than, waiting for an API to respond, authenticate, etc.
Yeah, and that doesn't matter whether you're sitting here in Odense or whether you're sitting in Australia or US. It's globally distributed.
Yeah, so you can see here, so the media I uploaded, so I'll just refresh. Let's do this one. There you go. So it created a console folder, and then my media item here, which you can see, and this is immediately available on our CDN. So I can also do width equals, say, 200, and then resize it. And this is instantly cast on the CDN as well. So we can use the resizing options that we know from Umbraco directly with these URLs. So if I refresh, then of course it's cast. So that's this sample is on our GitHub. So if you want to see the code for that, it's available there. So it's pretty straightforward to dive into, and it's what I highlighted as part of that 24 days in Umbraco post as well.
So if you really want to deep dive into how is that made, then will you have the link in the show notes?
Of course.
For the blog post, so then you can see all the cool details.
Yeah, so we have within the .NET Core client library, we have two samples. So there's the console one, and then we have an MVC website as well, which you can also dig into and just start that up. So I have that one running here. So we just deployed it to an Azure App Service, real basic plan. So you can see this is the MVC website that's running, and it's using the content from within this Heartcore project. So of course it's a bit difficult to see behind the scenes, but I hope that you trust that it's a .NET Core project running behind the scenes here.
And so I was going to ask, for those that are familiar with Umbraco Cloud and the traditional hosting setup on Umbraco Cloud, you have multiple environments. And I noticed that your headless environment also says it's the live environment. Is it possible to have a dev environment and look, and my local instance points to another API?
Yeah, so you can have up to 3 environments on a Heartcore project on cloud. So you can have a development environment and you can have a staging environment as well. So it's you're deploying content between them and metadata between them, kind of like you do with Umbraco today with Umbraco Cloud. So there's no local setup in all of this. So there's no code that you deploy to Umbraco Heartcore. That's all managed. So that's something that, or at least something less to worry about.
That's the one.
Depending on, sorry, go ahead.
That's the one difference. So with Umbraco Cloud, I would actually spin up a local copy, whereas I'm talking to a dev API.
Yeah.
But what's cool about this is that even though you're using a headless CMS, you can still have a staging environment where editors can work on large campaigns for whatever content they're creating. You can in one go push that to live, actually work on the next iteration of your content models in a dev environment, and then whenever you're ready with that, push it to stage or push it to live. So all of that is also included in Heartcore.
Cool. And we have this question also on chat, but we covered this topic a little because people are usually asking why it's different than on-premise implementation or third-party tools like REST APIs. You've, Morten, said a lot about the tools and the process of content delivery. Can you also say more about, I don't know, maybe the differences perspective or the plans which will extend the product itself in the future, or how you approach the future of hardcore, and for which projects people should definitely think about using it?
For which projects?
Yeah, what type of approaches?
All the ones that make sense. I think.
That's the exact answer which I had in my mind. Yeah.
I think jokes aside, I mean, a lot of the scenarios today where you've been used to more or less integrate the CMS into an application, for instance, is one scenario where headless CMS actually makes a lot of sense. Yeah. Where this is not about hijacking routes or anything. This is about then loading content where it matters. So that's one scenario. Another great scenario is if you want to use a different technology than the .NET framework. So if you want to use .NET Core, we also have a Node.js sample that's pretty cool. You can use that. I've used Python together with Hardcore for the launch button. We're going to see a little bit later, and also for a bartender project that I hope I can show at an umbraCoffee episode later. And then for chatbots, I mean, Carol from the community shared a really cool tutorial on how to make a Alexa Christmas bot, holiday bot, powered by Hardcore with super nice screenshots, examples, and very few lines of code. And right across the street from where we live, there's a company that develop apps for iPhones and Android, and they can use Hardcore for those apps to power them with content. So many scenarios where headless CMS actually makes a lot of sense, and especially also. Sorry.
Yeah. No, sorry. I said that it was a tough question because we all know that there are different types of use cases, and everyone should be considered separately. But I really we've been even mentioning on the last umbraCoffee that we had a article about content segmentation and content structures for content managed sites, and it was really well written. And when content matters the most and it can be delivered to different destinations, that's where this type of solutions are really helpful, because without any coding, you can structure your content, do the preparation of your work, and deliver it using the existing APIs, which doesn't need to consume any developer's time if they are just served somewhere, because maybe someone has front-end resources and can build the site using, I don't know, Vue.js, Netlify, whatever else, and just use it. So yeah, I really like it.
I'd love to know a little bit more about the name, because this was a bit of a surprise to us, maybe 3 or 4 weeks ago when it was announced, and people were, I think reactions were mixed in honesty, but I'd love to know the thought process, because for 2 or 3 years you've been talking about Umbraco headless, and of course, this is a headless Umbraco installation, but how did you come to the name Hardcore?
There was a number of things. One of them, one of the purposes is also reflected in the comments. The name headless just implies whatever technology you're using. Now you're running a headless version of Umbraco, and people have been using Umbraco in a headless ways for many years. So we wanted to make it much clearer that this was not only about just putting an API on top of Umbraco. This is a different way to use Umbraco. So that was one. And then we started brainstorming, and we really wanted to avoid a name with a technical reference. And then someone, for the fun of it, mentioned Hardcore. And it just resonated perfectly. First of all, because at the heart of this headless offering is the friendly CMS that we all cherish and love. At the heart of it is also then our community, because at the very heart of the Umbraco CMS. We've been having the logo, the heart logo for such a long time, and then at the same time, this philosophy that the key or the really important thing behind a digital project is really the content. Then the idea is, if you have a heart and it pumps out content to various channels, now it's getting really metaphoric, but then there's something beautiful about having this headless CMS that's really friendly, really nice, still warm, and it can sort of distribute content anywhere you want, anywhere in the world. And then at the same time, we were like, we can't call it hardcore. And then it was just like, Kim and I just looked at each other, and then we were like, of course, then we have to do it because it's, it's also a part of what Umbraco is, right? That every now and then we're just a little bit different. Every now and then people are like, what the fuck are they doing? And in that sense, it's a perfect name. And then I really like it now, because now on Twitter, when you see people linking to tutorials about hardcore, it's very clear that this is a tutorial about a managed service and everything you might like about it. And for some people prefer not to run a service, or in some cases, it just makes sense that you already have a website. It makes sense to just use vanilla Umbraco CMS, and then you want to expose some of the content. Then you put a REST API on top of your on-premise or Umbraco Cloud website, and that's fine. And now it's just very clear, okay, hardcore is a thing on its own, but still with Umbraco in the center.
I really like that, the differentiation between the kind of self-hosted and a managed service, and that does really make it quite clear. I mean, Umbraco Headless could just be a package that you install on top of any old Umbraco installation. It does create that differentiation. And as you say, Headless is more of a methodology rather than the actual product in itself. Maybe this is a really nice side shift to what the future holds for because I know that Rasmus, you've worked quite extensively on a GraphQL package for the Umbraco CMS, and of course the question people are going to ask is, will that come to to hardcore? But also that ties in nicely with the fact that actually there could be maybe in future multiple ways of interacting with the data that lives in hardcore.
So yes, we are going to launch a GraphQL API, but it most likely will not be based on the package because we are going to leverage the CDN and the edges. So the package will stay as its own thing, and then we'll have the managed GraphQL API for headless.
Very nice. And of course, we're not going to press you on timeframes, but I believe there's a public roadmap for all the features coming. Is that right?
Products, in general, products, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Or at least we have the now, the next, and the later stuff that we're working on or going to work on. So yeah, that will be part of the roadmap, which will be published in, I think, 1 minute.
6 minutes. 6 minutes.
And so other than GraphQL, is there any other little things that you would really like to do?
Yes, there's many things. So there's a lot of stuff. So what we're working on right now is finishing up the Forms API and make that available as well. And I think, initially it'll be the API that you can use to get the forms definitions and posts result back to forms. And one of the stuff that we want to try out really soon is making at least a proof of concept of how to have something like React and Vue work with forms, so we can have it as let's just call it a framework for now, but something that you can use to work with forms on the front end of a website, for example. and try that out and see how that works and get feedback on that.
Which is really cool, because I remember you came to me with one of the beta testers, and she said, "I don't identify myself as a developer, but I got Hardcore up and spinning. I built something with it." And you might think having a forms integration is silly, but this actually means that, again, you can draw workflows that you don't have to develop. You can have a API integration. You can make really fancy things without thinking of yourself as a software developer, which is what I really also find super interesting and inspiring with the Hardcore project.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And then, of course, then there's the GraphQL API, and then we're also looking towards Preview API, so that it's easier to work with whenever you're working with Preview. That is basically just a URL that you're changing, or the host name that you're changing a bit, and then it doesn't really matter what you're using, or it's the same project, and you can preview, and then you can use that Preview API in your API somehow, or in your website or presentation there, or whatever you're building, to get a preview of what your content would look like before you actually publish it.
Nice. So would it will that's kind of a nice onward question to. I noticed the demo you gave. There's no packages section. So right now, Heartcore is just the core configuration of Umbraco, vanilla Umbraco, if you will. Will there ever be an option to extend on Heartcore?
Yes. Short answer, no. So we are definitely looking towards how we can accommodate that, because we know that a big part of the strengths of Umbraco is that you can extend it, and you can extend the back office and tailor it to be exactly what your content editor needs and what they want to work with. So instead of just having text fields for everything, that you can tailor something that is much nicer to work with and actually has the context of what they're working in. So we're definitely going to explore how we can do that. We don't know the format yet, but we really want to enable the ability to have custom property editors in the back office, so you can work with that. And I mean, we have a lot of ideas of how we can work with it, and how can we, for example, take in a feed of content or data coming from outside, and then display that, and maybe have a drop-down list or a select box of some kind, and then that's what you select, and it's not part of Umbraco, but it's being enriched from somewhere else, and just so there's a lot of ideas that's in play. So we need to fine-tune it a bit, and then try it out and see what we can do,
and I guess see how people use it as well over the next.
Yeah, exactly.
But before we do that, we have to release it. And that's actually release time.
Yes,
that's what I was going to say.
So now you can paddle for 30 seconds while we go to another location.
Yeah, so you can switch locations, and we can tell more about the product. So in 2 minutes, it's going live. We'll probably get more information about the product, offering, pricing, and all the pages and details will be published there, and people will start using it, because it will be from now on, it will be open for trials, right? And everyone can try it for 14 days. And
you can even buy it.
Oh, and of course buy it if it already fetches your expectations and use case. That's exactly. But it will be public and open from in 1 minute, right?
And for the first one who buys, you get this wonderful fancy headband and a steak knife. Let's go release, guys.
Yeah, let's go to the another room, and I'm going to highlight another camera, because we have a second camera there, and a lot of people wearing headbands. Let's see if this microphone will work, or won't it say trial all the time. And we can see the magic button. Trial.
It's subliminal messaging.
Yeah, we can see the magic button.
Trial.
Should we count down? I don't know how. It's like Elon Musk releasing something special. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3.
Trial.
Okay. It worked.
I think there
Trial.
was a confetti cannon that was supposed to go off.
Yeah, so
Trial.
definitely big congrats for the whole HQ for making it happen. And yeah, as I said, we already played with it, and it's really nice to see it working. So
Trial.
everyone can try it. I will mute this microphone.
Yeah.
Everyone can try it now.
Yeah, so I was just trying to check on the umbraco.com site to see if it's up there. I'm not sure really where I'm looking, in fact, but yeah, I'm sure it'll be there very soon. It's there. We'll put a link in the
description of this video.
Umbraco Heartcore. But it's got all the details on there. It's got the pricing. It starts at €39 a month, which is cool. It's you can, as you said, sign up for a trial. There's documentation there. It looks like it's really prepared, ready to go. I know what I'm going to spend the rest of my day doing today.
What's the URL, Callum? Can you say it again?
umbraco.com/products/umbraco-heartcore.
/products/hardcore. Yeah, we can share the screen, of course, if we're already connected here. We can see the HQ cheering,
partying,
and
having some
partying. Yeah, that's
champagne.
why it's not opening. Learn more. I cannot access this page. Don't know why, but yeah, we'll share this link in the description, and it's great to see. So everyone can play around with it and share feedback, because it's as any other Umbraco product, it's always the same. Umbraco is always open for feedback, and I've seen some very valuable questions here already on the chat, and I think that they should be somehow addressed sooner or later. And yeah.
I believe we have Martin and Morten joining us again, or maybe not Martin.
I can join you.
Yeah, join us, Martin.
I didn't realize that we were coming back.
No, me neither.
We've been chatting
No, we
about
just
ourselves.
press the button and then go. Yes. Yeah, we just didn't want to leave you hanging. We saw you were still on.
No,
Are there more questions? We need to answer questions. Or?
I mean, there's a couple of questions in the chat, but I think we've answered most of them. Is it only a SaaS offering? Yes, it's only a SaaS offering, because it's important that it can be distributed and makes it fast. I would liken it to, I'm in the UK, but I'm going to put my database in Australia. It's going to be slow, so we need something in between, and that needs to be managed. And you get all the benefits of being on cloud, upgrades, etc. I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And there was a question about dictionary items, but it's probably more to already usage of it, because it was coming from Jan, if I'm correct. What's the best way of dealing with general dictionary items in Heartcore? That was the question.
Yeah. Well, so we started out by taking it out because we wanted the focus to be on the multilingual features of Umbraco. So in that regard, it's I'm not sure if it'll come back in. We need to figure that out. But so right now, the focus is on using just the multilingual features of Umbraco.
Mm-hmm.
And then if you need multiple languages, then pick a plan that has the number of languages that you need.
Yeah. So by default, is it 2 languages, or is it just 1 language?
So we have 3 different plans. We have a mini plan and a starter plan and a pro plan. So the mini one is yes, as you have there. That has 1 language and it's mostly meant for, I think, for projects that are in development or
smaller projects.
And then for the starter one, that you have 2 languages, and then in the pro you have 6.
Fantastic.
And then if you need more, then you give us a call, I guess, or drop us an email.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I assume environments work in a similar way to cloud, where I can add more if I want.
Yeah.
Lovely.
Yeah. So it depends on the plan, which the number of environments that you can add up to. So if you need 3 environments, then you'd go for the Pro plan, as far as I remember.
Well,
Nice.
I don't think we want to keep you too long from your.
From celebration.
I can also see that I need to fix a link on the navigation, or I'll have someone do that right away. So, I'll get right on that.
Don't content edit under the influence of.
But we will of course post
from the other room.
we will post the links to every page which we've shared and discussed today in the description. And yeah, we are more than sure that everyone will find the information what they are looking for.
Yeah.
Cool. So once again, congrats for making it done.
Thank you for covering this with such short notice. That was super good to have you on board as well.
It's been good fun.
Yeah, it's a bit fun.
And if anyone has feedback on anything, then please let us know. Hit us up on email or Twitter or whatever. All the medias. All the medias, yes.
Okay, cool. So we will see each other on Friday. We can then discuss what's the first news and maybe items being discussed on top of the headless after releasing it publicly. And yeah, that's all. Thank you for having us, and come back to celebrating the release.
Yeah, well, thank you for being part of it.
That's all.
Yes.
Yeah. Magic button.
Cool.